This is an It Came from GenX video.
What's dominating the news right now, if you haven't heard, is the first images are coming through from the James Webb Space Telescope. It's a telescope that's more high powered and 3D resolution than the Hubble telescope. They sent back, I guess these images came back in early July, but they just released them to the public within the last week. There's a cartwheel galaxy that if you look up James Webb Telescope images, it's the first thing you see. It looks like a Ferris wheel, has spokes the whole 9 yards, and then there's two other galaxies next to it. This thing is said to be 500 million light years away, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So this thing is showing that there's other galaxies out there besides us, which poses the question, do you believe there's life form out there besides us here on Earth? And is this something you've always thought of? Or is this something that's just very recent with all of NASA's findings over the last 15, 20 years? Has that changed your opinion, or do you have an opinion? And again, has it changed? I'll hold mine for when you guys are done.
Wow. I'm not even sure if there's life on this show, so I'm not outer space. I don't know. Is another question. You know what? That's a excellent question. Surprised we haven't had that before on the show, Skinner, because it is. I don't think there's a more fascinating topic on the planet than that one. A more interesting topic, a more debatable topic, a more polarizing topic, and so many schools of thought. And you know, I've just learned in life to never be that person to be so definitive about something that I can't prove or disprove. And that's one thing that I'm not sure I believe, but I certainly don't discount it. When you see things like these pictures today, it is just mesmerizing to me. It's awe-inspiring to think about what's out there. Just to think about this blue piece of whatever sitting in space, floating in space, heating up just right, cooling off just right, daylight just right, sunshine. It's amazing to think about it. And to not think that there's more there out there like that is, I don't know. It's something to dwell on. I personally don't think that there's any other life out there, but I'm going to pose this question. I don't understand why we always ask you think there's people, but you didn't say this, but they said, do you think there's intelligent life out there? Why do we always assume that there's other life out there? They're smarter than we are. What about there's a planet out there and they're cavemen? We're the intelligent species. I never hear anybody think about that. It's always assuming that it's who's ever out there. If they're out there, they're more advanced than we are, and this, that, and whatever. So I don't know. I personally don't think there's any other form of intelligent life, and I don't mean like super intelligent. I mean just talking, like that type of deal. I just believe that if there were, we would not be this discommunicated. I just find that hard to believe. I think we would be able to connect some kind of way. But that's just my personal belief. I can't prove it or disprove it. Nothing would surprise me. I think space is just the most marvelous frontier you can imagine, besides, in our deep water. So who knows?
Yeah, like you said, the pictures are astounding. It's really amazing. It's like just a fantasy. Like people put these together using CGI or something like that. Just the clarity is just amazing. And then when you read about how they had all the things that could have went wrong when they launched that telescope and the budget for it, it was just really something else that it all came together as perfectly as it did. So read up on that, or if you haven't really, just all the stuff they had to do to test and the budgeting and to go through Congress and to continue to approve the budget for this thing, and it did pass. Obviously, they got it up there, so a lot of interesting facts with that thing. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like when you see stuff like that, I've always tended to believe it's really hard to fathom for me that we're the only living beings out there. You bring up a good point, Keith. Is this like maybe there are, but they don't have the technology or the smarts to even begin to do what we're doing? Perhaps you never know. Like you said, it's just everything had to. It was a perfect scenario with how we're able to sustain life on this planet. There's a lot of odds against that. Heck, even the planets in our own solar system obviously can't sustain life like we have. But anyway, it just was so much out there, and these are millions of years away. Maybe we're even seeing, remnants of planets and life that used to be around millions of years ago that we're just now able to see with this telescope. I don't know, but I tend to think there's something out there. Will we ever see it in our lifetime? Probably not, but maybe someday we'll make a connection. But I just think it's a fascinating topic for sure.
Yeah. And I look within our own galaxy or whatever, us being the only perfect situation as far as sustaining life. Now, don't get me wrong. Somebody could be a type of form of life could be possible in its own environment that maybe we can't survive in. But
Right.
as far as just a perfect place to sustain life like Earth is, leads me to believe. I don't see how people cannot believe that this was by design. I don't understand how about anybody cannot see that, because if it wasn't, I think there would be we would see proof of life easily other places. Now I know the budget for space has been real low. They've only seen like a small speck of what's out there. I get all that. But to me, I think the heavens are the heavens. And I think the good Lord designed it that way. It's something to marvel at. It's something to place a firmament between us and Him. That's my belief. But it's fascinating. I mean, no other topic other than religion can spark a genre which leads to movies, to TV shows, to music, to all these different beliefs, to costumes. I mean, it's just a whole world when you start talking about other beings out there in the universe. And it is very, very fascinating.
Well, it's funny, we talk about sci-fi a lot here. We're all sci-fi junkies.
Mm-hmm.
When we're growing up, the technology that we grew up with, we didn't have a whole lot. We had on television, we had Star Trek and we had Star Wars. Those were our two main sources of information. So even then, as a little kid, I'm like, there's no way that there's another me out there somewhere 100 million miles away. I just couldn't fathom that. But
yeah, we've said the same thing.
Yeah, no kidding. But as time has gone on and as technology's gotten better and we've starting to see more and more pictures of things, the mind starts to wonder, maybe there is another life form out there. And it's funny that you brought up the more intelligent life forms. It's probably because they talk to a bunch of rednecks down south, and that's why they come up with that
probably.
They come up with that particular statement. But yeah, there's got to be a life form out there somewhere.
Well, let me tell you something, Skinner. You made a really good point, and I want to add this. You said, basically, let me make sure I'm putting this right. What you were saying that I was inferring was that we couldn't fathom things back in the past, and now we see things today from Star Wars and Star Trek, and it lends us to think, okay, because we couldn't fathom that stuff back then, but here we go. The other night at Fisher's house, watching They Live, one of the great classic sci-fi movies, Mitch and I are just looking at each other like, wow, we never thought about when we saw this movie, 20-something years ago, how amazingly that these things are come to pass now. It was sci-fi tech back then, and we looked at each other like, wait a minute, these things are here now, like the drone.
Yep.
That was total futuristic stuff when we first saw that movie. And now, Skinner, I was at your house flying my drone, floating over the school and whatever. And it was the same type of thing. So Sometimes we're not ready for things. Maybe we have to get used to certain concepts before they're real. Look at, the hoverboard. They got hoverboards now. They got flying cars now. They're not mass production, but they got them. These are things that we thought was just total pie in the sky science fiction. We can go all day about Star Trek and all those things that have come to pass now. A cloaking device, that's impossible. Well, they have stealth technology now. Talking to somebody on a communicator in your hand. Well, we can right now. I can talk to somebody in Russia as long as they got FaceTime or Messenger.
One of these.
Yeah, exactly. So it's something to think about. Something is very, very. You can just daydream all day long.
It is a fascinating subject, and I appreciate you guys' input on it. What was you gonna say, Fish?
Let's see, in our 100th episode here, guys, we got a little bit more to go. One of us may or may not reveal that he is an alien. Not sure. So just keep tuning in.
People. We're not gonna
keep tuning.
Yeah.
Keep tuning in. That's right. We're been giving you clues all along.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
I wonder if you picked up on them or not. So just keep listening and watching. Thank you.
This is Keith Porter here, aka Porterhouse from It Came From GenX. We hope you've been enjoying the show, but please make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.